What's up, YouTube? Got another story time for you today, but before that, let's go ahead and get our cigarette lit up. Today we're going to be smoking a Newport Menthol. Now, next story time I do, what I actually did was I pulled out one of my Camel cigarettes out of my soft pack and stuck it in here, because I watched a video from Jacob fucking Jones, and apparently you can turn a non-menthol cigarette into a menthol cigarette. However, I'm not going to be making a full video rating the taste of the menthol or anything like that. I'll just comment a little bit on it next story time. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the cigarette lit up. Okay, so this story time is actually going to be on the time that I had to go to the hospital for alcohol poisoning. And this is a rather more, I'd say kind of wild, not really, but this was just after Christmas 2018 that this story happened. And I can't remember if me and my friends were playing beer pong or not. Actually, no, I don't think we were, because I seem to recall the time that we played beer pong, I didn't actually wind up throwing up or anything wild or insane like that. I just had a really bad hangover the next day. But so I was at my friend's house. It was Christmas time. Actually, just after, I think it was a day after Christmas, maybe. I can't really remember. But I was at my friend's house, and we were exchanging Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And afterwards, we had vodka, which was just the regular, I think it was, actually, no. It wasn't normal Smirnoff. It was cranberry flavored Smirnoff. And we had, I think, cranberry and grape juice. I think it was Ocean Spray. I can't really remember. And a couple of my friends who I didn't actually know, were there. And of course, after a little time went by, we all started drinking. And I was mixing about this much vodka with this much of the juice at first. And I think I had a couple beers prior to that. Now, as I started drinking, once the buzz started hitting me, I started drinking more at a faster rate. Now that's a recipe for disaster. But at the time, again, the bottle of juice was just sitting on the coffee table. Same with the bottle of vodka. And so I made a second one, maybe added a little bit more vodka, still mostly juice though, and drank that. And I kept it at that level of vodka, or that ratio of vodka and juice, for I think maybe a couple more after that. And but then all those other drinks that I had, like those other two that were the same ratio, hit me. And I was feeling pretty goddamn good, not gonna lie. But after that, I can't remember if we had ordered pizza or not, because a lot of times when we'd all hang out like that, we'd order pizza. And however, I have type 1 diabetes, so my blood sugar actually, as I was drinking or making the final drink, and like I being buzzed as hell, started, impersonating other people like with accents and stuff like that, and they thought it was hilarious. But when I got around to the final drink, that was after we had all passed a joint around. And well, actually what happened was my friends' friends went outside because they had brought a joint with them to the party. And I eventually, being, you know, disoriented because of the buzz, was like, where'd they go? And so I went out there and I was like, oh, they're smoking a joint. And so they passed me a joint, and there was only like 1 or 2 hits left of the joint. And this was, I believe, right after we moved from Colonial Beach to King George, Virginia. And after I had pretty much finished the joint, which what little bit was left that they passed me once I walked out there. And actually at first one of my friends was like, nah man, you're you know, you're pretty buzzed, you don't need any weed in your system right now on top of that. But me being the dumbass that I was back then, I was like, nah, it'll be great, man, it'll be fun. And so I went out there, smoked it, and of course then that almost instantly kicked in as well. And then after that, I went back inside, and again, I can't remember, I don't even think we had, maybe we didn't have even ordered food yet. I can't really remember. But so after that, I came back, and we all sat back down around the coffee table, and I poured myself what would be the final drink of the night, for me at least. And I'd put this much vodka, this much juice in the cup. And that was my greatest downfall of that night. Because that, coupled with the insulin that I had taken for the food, my blood sugar started dropping. And on top of that, I eventually did wind up throwing up. As a matter of fact, I can't remember, I'm trying to think now. Yeah, because I went to the bathroom after I drank that, but I do remember when I was pouring that final drink, my friends were kind of looking at me like, just like that, like in shock that I was about to consume that much vodka, and I just chugged the whole thing all at once. And then I had to go to the bathroom, of course, because I'd been drinking a lot of liquids. And while I was in the bathroom, that's when my blood sugar went low. And so when your blood sugar gets low, sometimes if it's a severe low, you'll be kind of disoriented. And that's what happened to me. And after I'd used the bathroom and everything, you know, pulled my pants back up, everything like that, was washing my hands, I actually, you know, started to, you know, feel kind of like this, and I was like, oh shit. So I laid down in the floor in there, and eventually they knocked on the door and were like, yo, are you okay? Are you okay? If you don't respond, we're gonna open this door. And they opened the door and they found me in there, and they were like, oh shit. So they pulled me back out, and I think I was either carried out by one of my friends, or 2 of my friends went in there and like had me wrap my arm around like their shoulder on each side. I can't really remember, but they pulled me out of there, put me on the couch, and then I leaned over and projectile vomited onto the coffee table and the floor. Yeah. Wasn't the best experience. But, so after that had happened, they called 911, and when the ambulance had arrived, I didn't know this until after the fact, the ambulance actually got stuck because there was a bunch of mud on their little dirt road leading up to the house. And they got stuck, so they literally had to call someone in order to get, I think, in order to get the ambulance unstuck so they could take me to the ER. And so on the way to the ER, I don't really remember much because I was in a daze. They contacted my father, who was at the new house at this time. Actually, what they had to do is they actually had a deputy sheriff drive out to our house at the time, and they knocked on the door and woke my dad up at like, I think 12:30 at night, and we're like, your son's in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. So yeah, eventually I had to suffer the consequences of that. But in the meantime, when I got to the hospital, I remember being very sick, again, because of how much alcohol I had consumed that night. And I was upset and stuff like that, because I knew I was like, great, now my dad's gonna have to come get me because I don't have a car at this time, and now, you know, the shit hit the fan. Let's put it that way. But so after that, they started with having me urinate again, because I had to pee again, and they wanted to take a urine sample. Me being completely out of it at the time, I was like, okay, I don't care. So I took the urine sample. And when they came back, they had one question for me. Where'd you get your weed, man? Like it was one of the nurses, and she was kind of sort of joking with me a little bit. And I told them, even though I was disoriented, I was like, can't tell you that, man. Sorry, I just can't. And they were like, okay, you know, nothing to worry about. And this was back before weed recreationally was legal in the state of Virginia. Of course it is now, but back then I think it was only partially decriminalized. And the little bit that I had smoked, I mean, there was literally legally nothing they could do to me in order to try to get that information out of me due to the Virginia law at the time. And I had just turned 18. And yeah, I pretty much sat there, and they, you know, gave me food and stuff like that to get my blood sugar back up. And this is the thing that I learned about hard alcohol with diabetics. The hard way is, at first, it makes your blood sugar go down. I didn't know this until I learned it the hard way. So I was sitting there, and they kept feeding me, and my blood sugar was still in the 40s. Man, it was not a fun experience. Pretty much all night, they kept me there because my blood sugar would not come back up. And finally my dad showed up, probably around 3:30 in the morning. But it was only him, my sister wasn't with him. And they came and picked me up, and of course, you know, he was fussing at me, which rightfully so, because I was being extremely fucking stupid with these decisions I made. And yeah, and I remember it again it was extremely cold this night. And I was taken all the way to, I think, almost to Frederick. Yeah, it was Fredericksburg. They took me all the way to Fredericksburg, to their hospital out there. And they wound up releasing me when it was about to get dawn, like the sun was just rising. And we were riding home, and of course this was back when we had the 1994 Jeep Grand Cherokee that at this point had over 500,000 miles on it. So it didn't go into overdrive. It didn't have any AC or heat anymore in it, so the ride home was extremely cold. and there was frost all over the windows except for where it had been scraped off. But basically when I got home, I just went to sleep. I mean, that's honestly what I did, because I was so exhausted from everything that I had been through that night. But I had left the Christmas gifts that we had exchanged there at the house. I also left my jacket at the house, because again, when the ER people came, they just pretty much took me, my person, and nothing else. Like, I think I left my cigarettes, I think I left my Zippo, I think I left everything there. And so after a day or two of getting better, I finally went back over there and got my stuff. But yeah, so moral of the story, don't be stupid, and don't push your alcohol limit, whatever that limit is, because some people can drink and drink and drink and it won't affect them the same. Me being a diabetic, I have to really watch, especially when I'm drinking hard liquor. But yeah, so moral of this story is don't smoke weed and drink a bunch of hard liquor at the same time, because that's a recipe for disaster. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video, this story time. And I'll see you in the next video. If you like the video, like, share, comment, subscribe. Anything you do helps, and I'll see you in the next video.